Earlier this week, we talked about the hidden costs of firefighting in American manufacturing. We talked about the added stress and chaos from the hundreds of tiny compromises made every single day just to hit the numbers. We talked about the opportunity costs of allowing daily firefighting, the cost that drains productivity, suppresses revenue, and slowly erodes employee trust in leadership. But today, I want to talk about something more exciting. I want to talk about what happens when leadership decides that enough is enough. Because here's what I believe. American manufacturing doesn't have a people problem. It has a leadership alignment problem. And leadership can choose differently. We can choose a different future for American manufacturing. Imagine walking into a manufacturing facility where people aren't afraid to speak up, where supervisors spend their time coaching and motivating their teams instead of scrambling to put out fires, where engineers spend their days implementing improvements instead of managing containment activities, where leadership's message isn't just heard, it is lived at every level of the organization. Imagine a company where people are proud to say, "I've worked here for 20 years. Remember when that used to be normal? Somewhere along the way, we stopped believing in career-long jobs. We've accepted layoffs as inevitable, and we've accepted burnout as part of the job, and that manufacturing will always be stressful. But why? Why have we accepted that? I don't think people are asking for ping pong tables and free pizza lunches. I think most people want something much simpler. They want to go home at the end of the day feeling like they contributed to something meaningful. They want to know that their voice matters, that their work matters, and that if they give 20 or 30 years to an organization, that organization will do everything in its power to honor that commitment in return. They want stability and trust. They want to believe and know they're part of a winning team. And if you're a leader watching this, I want to tell you something. This message is not meant to blame or shame you. The slow degradation of American manufacturing culture to where it is today didn't happen overnight. You inherited it. You inherited systems that have been in place for decades, and you're trying to make them work within the parameters you've been handed. Here, you deal with this. You're balancing customers and shareholders, schedules and budgets, employee retention, and thousands of competing priorities every single day. I know. I've lived it. I remember sitting in meetings where leadership genuinely believed things were going well because all of the metrics were green. But at the exact same time, supervisors were exhausted, engineers were behind on projects, and operators were quietly wondering how much longer they could keep up the pace. That's the disconnect. Not bad people and not bad intentions, just two groups living very different realities. But leadership isn't always about being right. Sometimes leadership is having the courage to say, this isn't working anymore. It takes strength to pivot, it takes humility to listen, and it takes tremendous courage to ask your team, what am I not seeing? That's not weakness, that is powerful leadership. That is the kind of leadership that people trust. In fact, imagine if every leader in America spent the next 30 days asking one simple question, what am I not seeing? I genuinely believe the answers would change organizations because people have been waiting a very long time to be asked that question by somebody who truly wants to hear the answer. The method I've developed, what I'm calling the Holy Grail method for American manufacturing, isn't about lean tools and it isn't about Six Sigma. It isn't about implementing another initiative that people roll their eyes at. It's about radical alignment of leadership. It's about making sure that the message that leaves the boardroom is the same message that's lived on the production floor every day. Because if those two things are different, trust begins to break down, and trust drives everything. One of my favorite analogies about leadership actually comes from dogs. If you've ever watched The Dog Whisperer, you know that dogs don't follow unstable pack leaders. They don't follow fear or anger or ego. They follow calm confidence, consistency, emotional regulation, trust, and people aren't all that different. Employees may comply because they need a paycheck, but they don't truly follow leaders they don't trust. And you can't fake great leadership. You actually have to embody it. And if you're not sure whether you're a calm, confident leader, take a dog for a walk on a leash. The dog will let you know immediately. Imagine walking into an organization where emergencies are the exception instead of the expectation, where people follow processes because they actually work, where information flows freely instead of being guarded, where everyone from the CEO to the newest operator on the production floor understands not just what they're doing, but why they're doing it. Imagine retiring after 30 years and saying, "That was a good company. We built something special together." I'm here today to tell you that future is possible. This movement has never really been about doubling throughput or doubling revenue. Those things matter. They create abundance and opportunity and job security and will be achieved with this method, but they've never been the destination. The destination has always been this: building winning teams, restoring trust, creating organizations people are proud to spend their careers in, leaving a legacy, and proving that America's best manufacturing days are still ahead of us. I'm going to continue showing up here every single week to share what I've learned over the last 20 years and to help build the next generation of manufacturing leaders. If you believe America can lead the world in manufacturing again, join me. Join the movement.